Well, hello everybody. This is Dr. Carmen Bryant, and this is Car Chronicles. How are you guys doing? You doing all right? All right, well, let's go ahead and get to it. You ready? Let's do it. For many of you, I want to ask the question, and I know some of you are going to be offended, but did you sell your soul to a narcissist? And for many of you, you can say yes. And for many of you, you are offended. You're like, I cannot believe she just asked that question. That is not true. I don't believe that. Well, let me explain it to you. You may have a different opinion by the time I'm done with the video. Let's talk about what the soul is. Now, I understand that everybody has their own understanding of what a soul is. And so, and I respect your beliefs. That is your beliefs. Let me just tell you what a soul is from a biblical perspective, from a perspective of a Christian perspective. Now, you take the information and you just apply it to, take the information, take the principles of the information and apply it to how you want to apply it. So for many of you that believe the same way I believe, and that is in Jesus Christ, you understand that you are a triune being. And that means that you have a body, and in your body you have a soul. And the original you is a spirit. So you are a spirit. You are housed in a body, or they say a meat suit, in a body, and you have a soul. Your soul is what makes you human. The soul encompasses your will, your thoughts, your desires, your emotions. This is, your psyche. Psyche means your thought process, your soul. This is what makes you human, makes you feel, makes you be able to empathize with people. Some of you are already thinking, no, the narcissist must not be human. They have a soul. Trust me, they have a soul. And they have emotions. That's why they are the way that they are. But, you are a triune being. And when I say, did you sell your soul to the narcissist? The question is, did you sell your soul to the narcissist? And for many of you, the answer is yes. You were fooled. You were love bombed and trauma bonded to an individual that has no real connection with people in the first place. You, on the other hand, just like they idealize you, and that's very short-lived until they run out of steam or run out of fuel, and then they have to go look for another supply to fill their need, to fill that ego boost. So you, on the other hand, you idealized this person, and you built an altar. You erected an altar to this person, and this person became everything. I've heard people say he or she was my everything. That's the big mistake you made right there, because they never should have been your everything. When you're in a relationship, that other person or your kids should not be your everything, because what you're doing then is you're building an altar and you're putting them on that altar, and they become your deity, they become your God. And that's the same thing that's happened with these narcissists. You erected this altar, put them on that altar, and they became everything. When you are trauma bonded, that's one of the things, is that you are solely dependent on this person for your emotional needs, to make you feel good. And when you feel bad, when they make you feel, and even to a point where you are so addicted to this individual that you want attention any way you can possibly get it, whether it's positive or it's negative. And so to sell your soul means that you have given them all your emotions. You have given them the way that you feel, everything. You've given them all your emotions. You are totally dependent on them to make you feel a certain way. It's like a drug. The drug can become your, you can build an altar to a drug, and that drug becomes your God, because you are totally dependent on this drug so that you can make it throughout your day, where you are totally dependent on this individual. I can't make it without him or her. I can't do anything without him and her. I feel like I'm dying on the inside. I need this person back. They have become your drug of choice. They have become your God. You have set up an altar, and you have sold your soul. You have sold your soul, your emotions, your feelings, your will. You'll do anything for this individual so that you can get something in return from them. And everything that you get in return from them, number one, is not real. Pseudo relationship is not real when it comes to your feelings, because you're living out of your feelings. When you live out of your emotions, it's already, emotions are real. You do have emotions, and they are supposed to be properly balanced. You don't make major decisions based off of your emotions. You don't make major decisions when you are angry or enraged, because once you calm back down, you will regret the decision that you made. You don't go grocery shopping when you're starving, when you're hungry, because you will overpurchase. Most of us know that. You're over purchase. You don't go when you are depressed or you're anxious, and people have these shopping sprees and you spend all this money to try to make yourself feel good temporarily. That's the same thing with that narcissist. It's a temporary fix for a long-term problem. And you don't want to make major decisions based on your emotions. But when it comes to that narcissist, you've sold your emotions all out to this individual. You have sold your soul to this individual. They become everything. They become your voice of reason. And then when you have the real voices of reason, you have people that are telling you things to help you. Hey sis, hey bro, I think you're doing too much. You even to a point where you put your children aside. It is so important. Most of the children that grew up in a narcissistic household where one parent is a narcissist and the other person is codependent or is the primary supply, if you ask them, a lot of them, were neglected by the parent that was running after the narcissist because it became all about them. They were running after that fix. They were running after those emotions. They were running after, please don't leave me. Oh God, what am I supposed to do if you leave me? How am I supposed to survive? And these kids are rejected and abandoned because the parent, and some of you may fit the shoe, and there's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's just something that you have to become aware of it. How do you change something if you don't become aware of it or acknowledge it? Why do you think when they go into AA, they say, now I do disagree with the statement of keep saying I'm an alcoholic. But for those of you that have gone to AA, you're a recovering alcoholic. And most of you say I'm going to be an alcoholic for the rest of my life. In my mind, once you have conquered it and you have been sober, you are no longer an active alcoholic. And to say that you're an alcoholic keeps putting you in a victim's role. Now, I'm not going to argue with, because a lot of you have found, recovery through AA. I just hate the fact that a person continues to call themselves something that they no longer are. I'm in recovery. I have recovered. The power of words is very important. But getting back to the topic, but even with children growing up in a household where one of the parents was abused by this narcissist, they're being neglected because that parent is chasing that high. That parent is chasing after this narcissist and they don't care. It means everything to make sure that this narcissist doesn't leave them. It means everything to them to make sure, even to a point where some people have given up their kids. And I speak to a young lady quite often. And she tells me about the narcissist that she has children by. He's got a lot of kids and has children, but to a point where if he tells these women that, and they have kids by other people as well, but he tells these women that he doesn't want to have anything to do with them because they have kids or because those are not my kids. These women have given up their kids and given their kids to their families, given their kids to their parents, all because they want to be with this narcissist. So you have sold out not just your soul, but you've even sold out your kids. Your kids have become a sacrifice on the altar of the narcissist. And so you do anything to keep them. So you see, you keep on putting sacrifices at that altar. Now you've sacrificed your children. You've taken your kids and you've given them to your parents. Or for some people, they've let them take the children. And some of these children, some of the guys' children, actually were in the foster care system. Were taken by CPS and were placed in foster care because that girl had this drive to be and to do anything that her God told her to do, which is that narcissist. And he said he didn't want her. He didn't want a woman with all these kids. She allowed the kids to go into the foster care system and they were adopted. She doesn't even have, and then he's not even with her anymore. He's with whoever. And now she doesn't have her kids. Or there are more than one that don't have their kids. And you're making decisions based off of your emotions and you need to stop and think. This is just a wake-up call that some of you are going to have to tear down those altars. And to tear down those altars means because you are selling your soul, meaning you're going to go through some emotional trauma as you're coming out. Most people that have been addicts, if you talk to them, and they have been in the recovery process, it is an emotional roller coaster that they go through to try to reach sobriety. And to maintain sobriety, they have to avoid the things that trigger them. They have to be aware of their stressors and triggers. They go to therapy to make sure that they maintain sobriety. There's certain medications when they have to get their teeth pulled, when they have surgery. There's certain medications, for some people, they're willing to sacrifice taking that medication to get addicted again because of the type of medication medication it is and suffer with the pain, or take something that may not be as strong as that medication, all to avoid becoming addicted. They'll do anything to make sure that they never go back to what they came from, or what they were addicted to. And for some people that were addicted to this narcissist, doing the same thing. You have to separate yourself and be prepared to go through the emotional roller coaster and the emotional pain that you have suffered probably for long before you even met that narcissist. That you got to tear down these altars that you have built to people pleasing. You're more concerned about what they think than what your deity thinks. Now for me, I serve God, and no one is more important than God. I could care less what other people think as long as I'm pleasing him. That's how you have to think, whatever your belief system is.